Here's the first step. If you're going to be a Barnabus, I want you to examine the person that you want to encourage. Examine them. I told you, you can't make anything better that you don't examine or evaluate. Examine the person that you want to encourage. You got to study their life. Know them. Know them. Try to understand their world, their fears, their pressures, their weaknesses, their strengths, their passions. Don't try to make them who you want them to be. Look and know them. Train yourself to look for positive things in their life that you want to encourage and celebrate. And there is a need in every human being to be appreciated. A need in every human being to be appreciated. You must know them. Know the person. You know, the Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. This is not saying that you can just make a child go any way. It says, it's talking about an older person who can see the natural proclivities of a child. It's so grows the twig, so grows the tree. As the twig bends, you see the natural bend of a child. And that's the way that child is going to go. You have to know the person, see what their strengths are, see what their passions are, even if you don't agree with it. It may be something and you want them to go into something that is a sure, secure kind of a job. And I've seen more parents talk their children out of their real destinies because of insecurity. They're like, well, you want to act. You want to act. You better get a real job. You want to be a musician, you better get a real job. You want to write poetry, you better get a real job. You want to paint pictures, you better get a real job. You want to dance, you better get a real job. Because they don't understand the person, and they're trying to make the person something that they are not, because they don't have the gifts that the child has and the passions that the child has. And you know, you will excel at what you do well. So you got to know the person, know the person, know the person, and understand this about people. Understand this about people. Every human being on the face of the planet has a need in their life to be loved. Every person on the planet has a need to be loved. Every person on the planet has a need to be understood. Every person on the planet has a need to be valued. Every person on the planet has a need to be remembered. Every person. I was up at St. Jude's Children's Hospital. A little girl there had been diagnosed with cancer, terminal cancer. And she knew that she was going to die. And they said to her, "Are you afraid to die?" And the little girl said, "I'm not afraid to die." She said, "I'm afraid of not being remembered." Because she was only about 7 or 8 years old. And she was like, "I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid of not being remembered." Every person on the planet has a need to be loved. Every person has a need to be understood. Every person has a need to be valued. And every person on the planet has a need to be remembered. How will you be remembered? You determine that right now by the way you live.